Turmeric, we make sure that it is IPM controlled, integrated pesticide management. That means no pesticide, but still we don't call it as organic because there is a lot more to be called as an organic. So IPM controlled. We make sure it has high curcumin than the regular turmeric. And we make sure we get the real good A grade turmeric seeds.
Can you educate us about the IPM and why not organic?
See, IPM is nothing but an international standard, especially followed by the European Union in terms of management of pesticide in cultivation. So they don't go for a chemical pesticide, but they go for some organic pesticide, which is absolutely no harm to anybody's health.
Okay.
But to be called out as an organic product, the farmland should be without pesticides and fertilizers for at least 5 years. Not only that, that particular farmland surrounded by a radius of 5 kilometers, no one should have used pesticides or fertilizers. Otherwise, it will have a bit of trace of fertilizers and pesticides in the products as well. Irrespective of the fact that you have never used a fertilizer or pesticide in your farm. India is a land where small farmers are there. It is not like United States of America or the European nations, like people having vast amount of lands, so that it can be easily called out to be an organic land. Here, people with 1 acre, 2 acre, half an acre, they make the cultivation for their livelihood. And you can't expect everyone to be out of pesticide and fertilizers for 5 years, that this land also can be called out as an organic land and the product output is an organic product. So nobody can certify that unless the state governments do. For example, in India, Sikkim is the only state which has been officially declared as an organic state. So you have every data and proof to make sure that the product output is organic. But in rest of the states, there is very few cultivable area which has been approved and authorized by the governments of the state, respective states, that it is an organic farmland. When you compare it with the amount of or the volume of food products in the shelves of Indian retails with the specific call out of organic, it's no way comparable.
Right.
So we don't want to mislead our consumers. They might be right by the way that it has been cultivated without any pesticides and fertilizers, but nobody can confirm that 5 kilometers radius nobody used pesticides or fertilizers. So that's the problem. There is a basic problem in the understanding between an IPM and an organic. IPM is integrated pesticide management, where it says that this particular crop has been cultivated without the use of any chemical fertilizers or pesticides except organic. To be called out as an organic, nobody in the vicinity of 5 kilometers should have used pesticides or fertilizers. So that's the difference between to be called out as an organic and being certified as an IPM controlled product.
Yeah. So we talked about the turmeric powder that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you said that we are sourcing, we are processing, and there are multiple nuances to it. If this is the case, why has not people have not done the past, and what is missing in the market now?
See, the spices, they are grounded or pulverized in normal machines. When you pulverize them, when you grind them,
Pulverize is grinding, right?
grinding. It's a methodology. You call it out as pulverizing.
Pulverization.
Yeah. The grinding machines are called as pulverizers.
Pulverizers.
So when you grind it, basically because of erosion, the heat emits. So the heat makes the essential volatile oils and the micronutrients present in the whole seed or whole spice form evaporated.
Let's use turmeric as an example.
Yeah. So turmeric has many essential volatile oils, micronutrients, curcumin in it.
You're talking about the stem and the bulb, or fingers and the bulb?
The fingers.
The fingers.
The fingers and the bulb.
Okay.
Both. When you grind them, it emits a lot of heat, up to from 80 to 100 degree centigrade. At that heat, it loses around 85 to 90% of its essential volatile oils, micronutrients. It fades away with its color, its aroma, declines or drops. So you don't get the real value of the turmeric powder which it's supposed to have, because it loses most of its potency.
Ah.
So what we try to bring to the
It's
table
because
is,
of the processing.
it's just because of the heat emitted during
Heat emitted
grinding.
during grinding.
There is
Okay.
no other harm that has been done to
Got
it.
it. Okay.
So what we try to do is that we try to grind it in the most effective way, so that we can retain the micronutrients and the essential volatile oils and the curcumin to the maximum possible levels. So there are advanced technologies, but which is expensive, of course. Anything which is good, which is better, which is best comes out at a cost. And you need to understand that. The market needs to understand that. The consumers have to have the awareness to understand that. So here in this process, we make sure that it is IPM controlled, that it is grade A quality turmeric stem, that it is toxin free, that it is loaded with curcumin around 4 to 4.5%, and then we grind it using cryogenic technology. In this technology, we flash liquid nitrogen around the chamber in which the turmeric is stored at minus 180 degrees Celsius, so that the turmeric gets cooled to around minus 80 degrees centigrade. So when you grind it, before even it touches 20 degrees centigrade, the turmeric becomes fine powder, because it's so brittle because of the sub-zero temperatures that is in. And when you grind it,
Heat is generated
yeah, but it is ultra
from
low
correct.
temperature. The heat is absorbed by the ultra low temperature of the turmeric, so that with the minimal heat, it's made into a fine powder.
Okay.
Because of that, the evaporation of the essential volatile oils, the evaporation of micronutrients, the evaporation of curcumin is prevented to a greater extent, so that around 85 to 90% of the essential volatile oils and the micronutrients and the curcumin is retained in the powder form. The golden hue color of turmeric is naturally preserved here. It gives a beautiful aroma. So when you use it, it really nourishes your food. It will deliver what it's supposed to deliver to your body when you eat it. It heals you. It makes you glow. It is a loaded antioxidant. It is anti-inflammatory. So all those properties are retained, and it is very potent to heal you. Otherwise, you're just eating a powder which has no potency to heal you. It's just a powder with some yellow color and little fragrance to it. So it was not the way our ancestors consumed. They never made anything in bulk. They made it for themselves in slow grinding process where the heat emissions were very less. So the any spice powder had retained its potency to the maximum level. So our ancestors, our grandfathers and great grandfathers were healthy. They were working in the farmlands from morning till evening with no tiredness. They didn't had any autoimmune. They didn't had any inflammatory diseases. It's all because of the way they made their food. It's all because of the way they consumed the food. So we try to take the wisdom from our ancestors, and we thought of bringing it across to the table of the next generation, because the next generation is so inspired by the fast foods, because the world is moving so fast. And they cannot be blamed, because they're in the very faster world. They have to cope up with a fast moving world, so they're in a hurry. They don't have time to make all these, so they just get what is available in the market. They just make it. They understand that turmeric is good, but they don't have the time to literally research on it, whether the turmeric powder that they are consuming is really a potent one which can heal them. They don't have the time. So the market is also taking advantage of it. They want to be competitive. They want to be cost effective. They want to sell more. They want to do more volume. So they try to minimize the cost. How do you minimize the cost? If you get a good ingredient, obviously you'll have to pay for higher.
So ingredient is turmeric fingers should be high quality.
High quality.
The sourcing.
Yeah.